Hello friends. So you get the idea, I've been doing a weird job for over a decade and I'm going to come and tell you about it. So has everyone here heard of Shibari?
Yeah.
Okay, for those of you that are lying, this is a pretty good example of Shibari. And this has the nickname locally to me as Boy Scouts on acid. Or brownies on crack, or however you want to go about it. And the reason for that is that once you get into this, into the technical side, you find that people very quickly get obsessed with the knots, the tensions, the friction, the anatomy, the physiology, and the very sexy world of load management. And it just so happens there's a bunch of nerds like me, and there's a bunch of people who like being tied up. And that's pretty helpful because you get this nice symbiotic relationship. But that is quite surface level, as you can probably guess. And I'm pretty fascinated with what it is that motivates people. Like, what is it that makes people want to do this? So a couple of years into teaching, I started doing this weird thing. I'd leave a notepad in the corner and I'd ask people to anonymously write down why it is that they wanted to do rope. So, do you want to know what they put? Yes! Okay, because I'm quite the fan of the cheap storytelling tactic, I will be saving the most popular one for last. Because got to keep that engagement up, even though it's what they thought that everyone's going to pay for. So, what devious, weird shit did people say that they wanted? Comfort. Yeah, for a lot of people, rope bondage is not just about not being able to move. It's about the sensation that the rope creates in the body. If you think about it like deep tissue pressure, I'm not saying that everyone who does rope bondage is autistic, but we've known for years that deep tissue pressure is incredibly soothing for people who have autism. And when we know that this has a strong physiological impact on people, that has to mean something. Also, if you apply this outside of rope, think about what the main sensation is of a massage. Think about what the main sensation of a hug is. It's just deep tissue pressure. Flying. This one's pretty simple. This is the easy one, really. If you know rope, you know how to make a harness, you know how to make an upline, you know how to make people fly. For the person in the rope, if you're okay with taking on the physical sensations of going up, the pressure, the journey, then you can enjoy being up there. And if you're the person tying, you can, and you've got the skills and the patience and the concentration in order to do it, you can enjoy the fact that, you know, I did that, that's me, I made that happen. It's incredibly empowering. Pain. So, Pain has a really, really shitty PR team. Because no one wants pain. We spend all our lives trying to not experience it, and then when we have it, we spend all the time trying to get rid of it. But for a lot of people, pain is enormously exciting. It's a rich cocktail of endorphins, and there's nothing else quite like it. And it might surprise you to hear that a lot of people who suffer from chronic pain will embark in optional pain in their private lives because it helps them feel normal. They can have control over how they're feeling, which they don't have normally. And not only that, pain does not come in all sizes. Think about the difference between a scratch, between a dull ache, between an aching throb. Pain is one word, but it incorporates this myriad of sensations. Not only that, you can get twisted up, expanded, contorted. The world is your oyster. Pride. So this is a weird one because, as was mentioned just now, we were not brought up in an environment to be proud of who we are. We were brought up to be told that there's a version of you which is more handsome, more pretty, thinner, more muscular, less of a fucking weirdo, less greasy, and less socially awkward. And the thing about rope, the thing about being tied up, is it makes you just stop. And you either burn up in the awkwardness of that, or you just accept yourself for who you are. Let's talk about dominance and submission. Some of us like to take control of a specific person or give up that control. We like to have control over how someone's body's positioned or what shapes they make and how long they stay there. I feel like dominance and submission has a weird overlap with pride in that one of the people is letting go. One of the people is accepting what is happening, and that can feel like an absolute relief. You start to get a feel with these motivations that whilst they're very distinct, they have a strange connecting thread between them that just changes as we move from one to the other. They're similar but different. Like exhibitionism, wanting to be looked at, objectified, visually appreciated. Some people want to be looked at by one person, some people want to be looked at by a whole room full of people. Some people want to be someone's art, some people want to be a room's worth of pornography. And this can have a humiliation/degradation aspect to it as well. It can be enticingly embarrassing to not be able to control who's looking at you, which part of you people are looking at. That can be a huge throw for some people. One thing I should mention is that when I got people to write down any time, it's very rare that people would just write one reason for doing this. It was much more common that people would write 3 or 4 reasons, and those combinations would be different. Like challenge. Some people want to know what their bodies can do, whether that's sustaining a tremendous amount of pressure or overcoming the fear. Maybe like my friend here, they're trying to face up to the difficulty of a near impossible backbend. This might seem really weird from the outside, but how many people know someone who's run a marathon? How many people know someone who's done the 3 Peaks Challenge? What about doing a Tough Mudder? What did people tangibly pull away from that? Pretty much nothing, except that they knew they could do it after they did it, and that's why they did it. So it's not unusual that people view rope bondage as an artistic expression. Something akin to a tattoo or a body painting. You can view rope as the thing which is framing the body, making the thing we're used to seeing look different by the fact that we're looking at it through a different lens. Or we can view the body as a canvas, which is there for us to put our artwork on top of. Tradition. Tradition is somewhat awkward and complicated because Shibari as a field of expertise is borrowing a lot of information and skills from Japan. But over time, that's also reversed, and Japan has taken a lot of skills and expertise from the rest of the world. It's kind of beautiful. But some people have chosen to follow the skills of a particular rigger. So, for example, popular Japanese riggers such as Naka Akira, Kazami Ranki, or Yagami Ren. If someone ties Naka style, they are borrowing the techniques, the aesthetics, and the ethos of Naka Akira. So these next two are kind of weird. So sometimes in workshops, I'll ask a room full of people, why do you like doing rope, and why do you think other people like doing rope? And guess what? There's 2 things that people, my friends, hate saying out loud in a room full of people. Can you guess what they are?
Sex.
Some got it. Sex! So sex is an odd one because you think if people wanted to go have sex, they could just go and fuck. But when you think of anything, the rope is going to be an obstruction to that, like an additional pain in the ass, you know? But it's weird because rope has a few little benefits to it which might not be obvious. Like, think about the utility of it. If you want to keep your legs apart for like an extended period of time, rope can help you do that. If you want to play a game like You're Here to Be My Toy, rope can help you do that. And then touching on something that beautifully was said earlier, think about the amount of stress that's caused by when we should be getting aroused, when we should be getting hard, when we should be getting wet, how long it takes us to orgasm. Think about the amount of stress that causes. And when we're setting as a statement of intention, the fact that actually we're here to take our time and just enjoy ourselves, to the point where one person's not even expected to move, that is hugely liberating for some people and unlocks a lot of doors. Taboos. So I think Bear's going to touch on a taboo later. And there are many taboos. And one of the most common ones is that of sexual assault fantasies. So back in the good old days when I had a normal job, I used to share an office with someone who told me they had fantasies about being raped. And I asked her, like, why is that? And she said, there is something enormously intoxicating about someone wanting you to the extent where your consent doesn't matter. It is both terrifying and intoxicating at the same time. And I've spoken to many women and men and non-binary people about this since. There's something about dipping your toe in your worst nightmare, but having full control over it that is enormously liberating. So, before I tell you the most common motivation, I'm going to tell you my main reflection on this. Yes. It's really common. So, it's really important that we understand ourselves and understand how vital communication is. All these things I've just showed you have come under the umbrella of people who like doing bondage, but these things are so different that they're almost incompatible. For me, regardless of where we are on our journey, it's really important that we keep stock of where we are and what we're interested in. So, most common motivation, most freaky, weird, out there reason that people want to do rope bondage? It's connection. Yeah, I know. It's nice, isn't it? Didn't see that coming, did you? To me, this is beautiful. When you get people in the same place with a reason to interact, you get friendship, you get relationship, you get laughter, you get love, and you get heartbreak. Both parties need to trust each other in order to do rope, and that builds an enormous amount of connection. I don't think that rope is uniquely special and that creates connection, but whether it's playing board games or doing rope bondage, with very few exceptions, people being around people produces beautiful things. Thank you very much.